So we're going to begin our journey with chemistry and measurement by reviewing for most, and for some of you introducing for the first time, some standards for how we measure different pieces of matter. And we'll start with length. So before we dive in, I just want to see if you can guess which of the following is longer. We're dealing here with an English versus a metric unit. So for A, we have 1 mile or 1 kilometer. Which do you think is longer? If you answered a mile, then you're correct. A kilometer is actually about 6/10 of a mile. And how about B, which is longer, a yard or a meter? If you've ever seen a yardstick or a meter stick, perhaps you can answer this question easily. The answer is the meter. A yard is just shy of 1 meter. Just very, very close to being the same, but slightly less. And then finally, how about an inch versus a centimeter? Which one is longer? It's an inch. So actually, you have about 2.5 centimeters for every inch. So that's basically, in a nutshell, our English versus a metric unit. The basic unit of length in the metric system is the meter, and it's represented by a lowercase m. Okay, so just whenever you see a lowercase m, that means we're talking about a meter. There's actually a standard for how the meter was derived, and you don't need to know this, but it's another piece of useless trivia. It's actually the distance traveled by light in an absolute vacuum in 299,792,458ths of a second. So obviously you don't need to know that, but I just thought that would be an interesting little thing for you to know. I'm going to take you to look at a real short video about the meter and some interesting comparisons that you can use to help you visualize length in terms of the meter. If I can get it to go.
Athletic tournaments throughout the world measure in metric dimensions. This diving board, 10 meters high. An Olympic-sized pool is 50 meters long. Meter, base unit for length.
Meter, about as long as a baseball bat. A meter can be the length of an average person's long step. For most people, that is.
The height of a handle on a standard door is about 1 meter from the floor.
So that was a very ancient video, obviously back in the 2000s, and very horrible resolution, but at least it gives you a little bit more comparisons of common everyday objects and their length related to the meter. All right, so if we look over here under metric units, these are some common expressions of length. If you see the word kilometer symbolized with the abbreviation km, that's equal to 1,000 meters. So 1,000 meters equals 1 kilometer. 1 meter will equal 100 centimeters. So you can actually see the word centi in there. That actually means 100. And the abbreviation for that is cm. And then 1 meter can also equal 1,000 millimeters. And that is symbolized with 2 little m's. Okay, so let's see if we can test our knowledge. Those are just some quick conversions. Which is larger, 1 meter or 105 centimeters? Give that a thought for a second. A meter versus 105 centimeters. So think in terms of how many centimeters are in a meter, and then compare that amount with 105, and you should have guessed 105 centimeters. So because there's 100 centimeters in a meter, 100 is less than 105, so 105 is more than a meter. Okay, how about 4 kilometers or 4,400 meters? Again, think about how many meters are in a kilometer and see if you can do the conversion in your head. hopefully you chose 4,400 meters. So think again, we've got 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters. That would mean 4 kilometers equals 4,000 meters. 4,000 is less than 4,400, so 4,400 meters is longer than 4 kilometers. All right, now C, 12 centimeters or 102 millimeters. So again, think about how many centimeters are in a millimeter. If you look here, you can see we've got 100 centimeters equals 1,000 millimeters, so that means we've got 10 millimeters per centimeter. So 12 centimeters or 102 millimeters, hopefully you guessed 12 centimeters. Okay, then finally 1,200 millimeters or 1 meter. Think about how many millimeters are in a meter, and then figure out if 1,200 is more or less than that number. Hopefully you guessed 1,200 millimeters, because there are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. Okay, so that's the link, and 1,200 millimeters is more than 1,000 millimeters. Okay, so hopefully you're filling this in on your worksheet as you go. So how many millimeters are in a centimeter? This is your typical blown up version of a metric ruler. So here's 1 centimeter, and if you count all those little lines between the 0 and the 1, you will count 10 millimeters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. So let's practice. What is the length of the line in centimeters? The line is right here. What is that line? So you always want to start your measuring of length right at 0. That may or may not necessarily be the edge of the metric ruler. So you need to make sure you're starting at 0 so you're accurate. And we're trying to figure out what the length of the line is in centimeters. Okay, so take a minute. See if you can figure it out. The answer is 2.8. So you know that the line has not quite reached 3, so it's 2, it's at least 2, so that's why we write the 2 in. And now we're dealing with looking at the millimeters that are inside it. So we know that there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter, so we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's where the line ends. So 2.8 centimeters. Now, how about the length of the line in millimeters? Here's a hint. You don't have to count all the little lines. If you did, you would get to 28. But remember, all you need to do, and this is the beauty of the metric system, all you need to do is move your decimal point over from centimeters. So you can just move that baby right over here. You're just moving it over 1 decimal point because you're dividing it by 10. Actually, you're multiplying it by 10, sorry. We are adding to it. So it's just 28 millimeters. Okay, now what is the length of the line to the nearest centimeter? So here I don't want you to even look at the little lines in between the centimeter lengths. So I only want you to look at in terms of these big centimeter markers. So try to round it to the nearest centimeter, no decimals. So where does this line hit? You will see it's at 3 centimeters. It's closest to the 3 centimeter mark. And that's all there is to know about measuring length in the metric system. Very good.